All right, welcome to this hands-on explainer workshop. Today, we are equipping you with 6 completely unconventional, immediate-to-implement scaffolding strategies designed to completely overhaul your reading interventions. If you've been looking for a way to breathe some fresh air into your literacy instruction, you are literally in the perfect spot. We're going to anchor everything in the core principles of structured literacy, but we're also borrowing some absolutely brilliant ideas from theater, architecture, music, and even game design to make it happen.
So let's kick things off with a pretty massive question. How do we actually shift our literacy instruction from passive compliance to joyful, multisensory discovery? For way too long, intervention has basically looked like students quietly, maybe even reluctantly, filling out worksheets. Today, we're flipping that script entirely. We're going to make our students active, enthusiastic participants in their own learning.
Here's our itinerary for today's explainer. We'll be mapping out the exact pedagogical tools you're about to add to your toolkit. We'll start with the dynamic literacy workshop, then move through tangible story architecture, gamifying decoding, curators and authentic performance, the apprentice system, and finally, the ultimate identity shift.
Okay, part 1, the dynamic literacy workshop. This is the fundamental philosophy of the reading bootcamp approach.
This right here is where we need a total paradigm shift. Look, traditional interventions, they're often super passive, right? Lots of worksheets, lots of sitting still and complying. And the problem is that puts a massive working memory load on our students, especially our dyslexic learners. But with the dynamic literacy workshop, we're talking about explicit, cumulative, and intensely active thinking. It's fully multisensory. We are swapping out that exhausting mental load for real discovery and creativity, all while preserving those crucial structured literacy principles.
Moving right into part 2, tangible story architecture.
To fix that mental overload we just talked about, we use a concept called externalizing comprehension. Now, following a narrative is, by nature, a highly abstract mental task. You know that one student who always seems to lose the thread of the plot? For a dyslexic learner, trying to juggle the characters, the setting, and the conflict all at once in their mental whiteboard is exhausting. So externalizing comprehension is all about giving them physical anchors. We are shifting this from a purely mental workout into a highly visual, tangible, and multisensory process.
So what does this actually look like in your classroom? Picture having your students physically build stories, almost like architects building a city out of Legos or magnetic tiles. It goes step by step. The foundation, that represents the setting. The walls are the characters, the door is the conflict, the windows are the clues, and the roof is the solution tying it all together. Oh, and the decorations? That's the descriptive language. Suddenly, the invisible structure of a story becomes a visible physical object sitting right there on their desk.
All right, section 3, gamifying, decoding, and rhythm.
Once we've nailed down story structure, we can tackle decoding, which, let's be honest, can feel a bit tedious. So here is your new Rhythm Reading Lab cheat sheet. We're borrowing heavily from music education here to build stronger timing pathways. Basically, we're turning reading into percussion. Students physically clap for syllables, stomp out those stressed syllables, drum for phonemes, and tap for prefixes. Imagine a kid tackling a big word like unbelievable. Instead of just staring blankly at the page, they're physically stomping and tapping it out. This physical rhythm powerfully reinforces phonological awareness through movement.
Which brings us to a really crucial question. How do we turn an ordinary, maybe slightly repetitive decoding lesson into an actual discovery?
Enter escape room literacy. You essentially set up a challenge where the reading lesson is the mystery itself. Every successful decode, whether they figure out a locked word, solve a morphology puzzle, or crack an encrypted sentence, earns them a key. No more arbitrary points on a page. They actually need that key to unlock the next chapter or the next clue. It totally transforms decoding into a purposeful, high-stakes mission. Reading suddenly becomes a thrilling puzzle to solve.
Let's jump into section 4, curators and authentic performance. This is where we start seeing massive leaps in engagement. So instead of just passing out another vocabulary sheet, what if your students became museum curators? Every new phonics pattern or spelling rule becomes a precious artifact. They build mini exhibits and design gallery walls for their most wanted words. Say you're studying the prefix tele, they don't just write it down. They gather artifacts like telescope, television, and teleport for a morphology museum. Then, they have to explain the invisible thread connecting them all. This scientifically promotes semantic mapping, building this incredible web of meaning in their brains for future recall.
And then we elevate things with Reader's Theater 2.0. We all know asking a kid to just reread a passage can be incredibly demotivating.
But look at these roles. Give them a real, authentic, communicative goal. Have them perform the text as a frantic sports announcer, a serious detective, a pirate, or a whispering wildlife documentary narrator. When they take on a persona, their prosody, their expression, and pacing naturally skyrockets because the performance actually matters to them. It's all about performance before perfection.
Moving on to Section 5, the Apprentice system. This is one of the most emotionally resonant tools we have.
Now, one of the absolutely most powerful ways to learn something is having to teach it to someone else. With the Apprentice system, you pair older, struggling readers with younger students. Using a highly structured routine, the older student teaches just one single sound or decoding strategy. And the reason this works like magic, it forces the older mentor into high-level cognitive tasks: retrieval, organization, and explanation. It completely cements their own mastery while they provide a really vital service to a younger peer.
And finally, Section 6, the ultimate identity shift.
When we empower students to become the teachers, this is where the magic really happens. When a student builds a story architecture or curates a museum, they go through a profound shift. They replace that crushing internal monologue of "I am behind" with an empowering new reality: I help other readers. They realize they aren't just passive participants in an intervention, they are incredibly capable leaders in their own learning.
So as we wrap up this explainer, I've got one challenge for you. Look at these blueprints. We covered the museum curator, story architecture, the rhythm reading lab, escape room literacy, Reader's Theater 2.0, and the Apprentice system. I challenge you to pick just one to try tomorrow morning. Take these tools and let your students become active architects of their own literacy. Because honestly, when we change the experience of learning, we change the learner entirely.